Welcome to Josh Around Podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Josh.
Well, man, what you been up to, dude? What you been up to?
Just joshing around, as usual.
Today we have a very special guest.
Thank you so much for joining us, Tony. If you don't know, this is the critically acclaimed writer of Feral, Stray Dogs, Time Shopper, My Little Pony, if
Yeah.
you're into that corner, and now Deathstroke. Tony, welcome to the show.
Thank
How are
you.
you doing?
Happy to be here. Very excited to come hang out with you guys.
We've got some good questions prepared.
All right, let's get into it.
First question that I had is for your inspiration for Feral. While reading it, I could compare Pet City or even the old lady's house to Woodbury from Walking Dead, a place that's on the outside unassuming and very innocent, but has a very brutal, dark nature underneath. Do you think that was an inspiration for you at all?
You know what? I read Walking Dead up till the point where he says, "We are the Walking Dead,"
Oh man,
and then
that's
I fell
early.
off.
That's
And
early.
then that's like issue 50, right?
Yeah, it's still in the prison arc. That's super early into it.
Yeah, and then I thought I'm gonna pick this back up, and then I started writing my own zombie comic, and just like Robert Kirkman used to say that he hadn't read World War Z or Max Brooks', Zombie Survival Guide, I was like, well, then I can't read the rest of Walking Dead until I'm done with this. So in 4 years, I'm very excited to be inspired by Woodbury. But at this point, Pet City was definitely inspired by uh, Dawn of the Dead, which I assume Woodbury probably was a little bit too. It's a
Yeah,
shopping mall.
probably.
It looks like it's going to be the best thing in the world, the perfect setup for a place to survive a zombie outbreak, and then it turns out that the people you're actually afraid of are the people that are inside with you, or cats.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I just finished Walking Dead for the first time. I think it was
Nice.
like 2 or 3 weeks ago. My favorite comic of all time is Invincible, right?
Mhm.
And so going into it, I was anticipating it to be great, and I absolutely loved it. It's now my second favorite comic of all time. So I'm
Damn, 2 for 2,
Yeah,
Kirkman.
yeah. I think he might have the Midas touch.
Yeah,
But
that's your
also,
guy.
I think a big thing with that though is that there's a start and an ending. So I believe
Mhm.
that is what, because like again, if I'm reading Batman as much as I love the character, there's 1,100 issues of Detective Comics. There's no way you know what I'm saying? So I think a clear start and a clear ending that is in like a reasonable amount of time is why that is so impactful of stories.
On a long running comic, you can have a great run, but then right after it, you can have one that you're just like, well, I hated that. And so there is something nice about having the same team on the thing the whole time. Me, Tone, Trish, Brad, we make Feral every month, and it's going to be as good or as bad as we can make it. And nobody's going to come in, next arc and stink up the joint.
You worked with the same group on Stray Dogs and Feral
Yeah.
with Trish Forstner and Tone Rodriguez. Was that y'all's first project together, Stray Dogs?
No, I've worked with, well, it was my first project with Trish. She had done, we had both done My Little Pony comics, but we hadn't worked together on them. But I had worked with Tone for, at that point, probably like 7 or 8 years. Just we worked together in the same studio. And so we would always be like passing work back and forth. And sometimes he would help me out with layouts on a project. One or two times I'd help him out with layouts on a project. So we were like sort of in-person collaborators, and we had done that book Time Shopper right before together.
Mm-hmm.
And I had colored him on The Simpsons one time. We sort of collaborated back and forth, but Stray Dogs was sort of like our first long form collaboration. And then Feral obviously is the longest series that either of us have ever done.
During the process of Stray Dogs, did you know you wanted to collaborate with them again?
Oh yeah, of course. It was like when Stray Dogs started, all the pieces started coming together. And Tone was doing his work on the background stuff, and Trish started putting the dogs on top of it, and then Brad was doing the colors. And when every piece that came in, it looked more and more like the thing that I imagined, And so then when we finally dialed in what the colors were and how that was all going to look, it looked exactly like I was just like, nothing else looks like this, and this is something that I want to do for forever, hopefully.
It is very different looking. It almost has a Pixar-like look to it, but it's not like Pixar at all.
Right.
Very
Well, it's a
specific.
little bit. I mean, animals get lost in Finding Nemo. That's happened in ours. So that's there's that neighbor in Toy Story. He's kind of a psychopath. Elements, but
I
yeah,
don't
they're not
remember
necessarily the same
I
way.
don't remember his name, but the Dalmatian, I don't think that happens in a Pixar movie, man.
No, that's true, Victor.
The
There's no no Dalmatians have been murdered or skinned in any Pixar
yeah,
movie.
that was the part that I believe it deviates a little bit.
That's a good note.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll take that into consideration.
yeah, just a little bit.
When you talk about series with a definitive end, does Feral have a definitive end, or are you guys just going and going until you can't anymore?
Well, we have sort of like a goal in mind with how long we want it to run for, and I have an idea of how all the cats wind up, but it's not like I have a tight plan of we want to go to 60 issues. I'm not sure exactly what happens in like 48, but I have a rough idea of all the things that happen in the book, with room for if I come up with something, or if one of the characters does something that surprises me, or Trish draws a new character that I'm like, oh, I would love to follow this character around for a while. We can sort of improvise and change.
So it's kind of a beginning, middle, and end, but it's all about how you get there.
Right. Yeah. I feel like we're a little ways before the middle right now still. Uh, we're planning on doing 60, and 21 is on FOC this Monday. So that means it'll come out like at the end of March, and then that'll be like the third of the waypoint.
I'm pulling that Battle Beast cover, by the way. I'm so excited.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
so
that one
excited
came
about
out real good. That one, real collaborative. I did a quickie little sketch, and then Tone drew like the coolest, most muscular character we'd ever seen, and then Trish and I drew all these little kittens attacking him.
that. Yeah, it was very fun. I loved it, and I think I saw your TikTok that you posted of the sketching process of it.
Oh yeah,
But I love Battle Beast though altogether. He's one of my favorite characters in
oh
any
yeah, he's
form of
rad.
comic book. So it was really cool for me to see that for sure.
Nice. Yeah, you're gonna get a
Yeah.
bunch of Invincible covers this month.
Yeah, I'm pulling like 8 different comics from series that I haven't read yet. So
Nice.
my bank account might not think it's so cool, but dude, that I don't know if you saw the I think it's David Finch, the Negan in Conquest for Walking Dead Deluxe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm gonna be honest, that might be my
That's so
favorite of the
good.
bunch. It looks so great. I'm so excited. I love Negan. I love
And
Conquest, so it's a great thing.
he's a Jeffrey Dean Morgan fanboy.
I also am a
Oh,
Jeffrey
nice.
D. Morgan fanboy. That is true. I
He's
don't
good
think
in Watchmen too.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think we've had a podcast episode where we didn't bring up Watchmen one time, and I mean that wholeheartedly. Which I know we
Yeah.
only have like 6 or 7 episodes. I'm serious. We brought up Watchmen every time. It's ridiculous.
You bring up Watchmen the movie every time?
But well, I bring up the comic, and
Movie,
then
comic
yeah,
book,
we bring
either
them up
or.
both. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. My dog's name is Rorschach, and I have my knuckles tattooed as well for Watchmen. So it's something that's
Cool.
important. Yeah, of course.
So you use a lot of dialogue back and
Uh-huh.
forth rather than using these little corner boxes to explain inner thoughts or explain what's going on. Is that intentional? Like you wanted to stay away from corner boxes like that, or was it just so happen that that's how you're comfortable writing?
It's a little of both. I am comfortable not writing not writing caption boxes. And sometimes I've worked on stuff where I've seen like there's a real clear point for them, like a real clear usage for them. It used to be like comics, that was just the language of comics, right? Like there would be word balloons and there would be thought balloons. And so you would get to hear what the person was saying and then also what they were thinking. And then the thought balloons sort of became the caption boxes, which would either be say where the thing's taking place and what happened before, or it would be like their interior monologue. Um, but I just feel more comfortable writing, like letting you know about the character's interior, like their interiority through the things that they say and the things that they do, more than going into their brain. I just feel like it for these books, for Feral and Stray Dogs especially, that I want to feel grounded in a real way, even though it has talking dogs and cats and like a super rabies
Mhm.
virus and stuff. I wanted to feel grounded. And part of the thing about grounded everyday life is that when you're talking to somebody, you don't know what they're thinking, and you don't. So I'm just sort of leaving that part out of it for now. We do show, like Elsie, we sort of show her insecurities and her um, like doubts and stuff through. She has like a big spirit cat that shows up sometimes. So in that way, we are sort of that's like my version of a caption box. Like if we're gonna do it, it's gonna have paint flowing all around it and glow and show up and let people know that we're doing a different thing.
I think that's awesome,
I agree.
Oh, thank
for
you.
sure.
and
Very
it
creative.
it really works for character development and just for intrigue while reading. That you don't have to break up the dialogue and look over to the corner to see
Yeah.
what they're thinking.
Oh,
It just makes it flows a lot more naturally.
thank you. Yeah, that's very important to me. I don't take a credit for it, but I letter all the comics too. And the flow is like the most important thing for me is that the reader doesn't get distracted while they're reading it, or for some reason they're looking at something I don't want them to be looking at. Like I just want your eye to go to all the places that we want while you're reading.
That's another question that I had for you, if that was intentional. Your big moments when the Delman him hanging, that's after a flip.
Yes.
Most of your big reveals, your big staunch crazy things happening are after a page flip.
Yes, of course.
So my eyes naturally go on to the next page as soon as I flip. So I don't get a chance to get it spoiled for me.
Right.
And is that intentional?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. On Feral, we have a system worked out where we basically just, because you can plan it out that way. You just put the pages next to each other while you're, like while you're writing down what's going to be on them. So you know that it's like page 1 is a facing page, 2 is a flip, and 3 is a facing page, 4 is a flip. So you just know 2 can have a surprise, 4 can have a surprise, even number pages can have a surprise. I can keep that in my head, but I'll also oftentimes make like a little dummy, like staple together paper and make a little comic when I'm writing so that I can just look at it, write down the page numbers, and just look at it and see what feels right for like a big thing's happening in this book. It should happen right here, and then just be able to plan the rest around it. Just because I think visually.
Makes perfect sense.
I think it's really important.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you picked up on that. What's weird is when I do stuff at other companies, like Marvel will sometimes print trade paperbacks. Like when it's in the issues, usually it works. Sometimes they'll put an ad in between, but they try and keep it so that the ads don't mess up the page turns. When they do a trade paperback, sometimes they'll start on the facing page or the flip page. So like your page 1 and page 2 are now facing each other. And then that means every page turn that I intended for the whole issue is just spoiled. So it's just like that's like if you read the thing, there's an issue in that where you're just looking at it and like you see these big surprises happening on the facing page, and you're like, well, that's not like him. You would have noticed that, Josh. I don't know if everyone would have.
That's not like Tony.
That's not the guy I know.
On that note, I remember reading Farrell, and Jonas's death just caught me
Yeah,
off guard completely. Because again, like you're seeing this outside threat of the rabies virus, and then just
yeah,
it introduces a whole new subsect of like, hey, no one's safe no matter what. And it
yeah, for
just
sure.
that one would really, yeah, it caught me off guard pretty bad. I think I told Josh about that whenever I first finished reading Farrell because I read it before he did, and we went back and talked about it. And it's just Jonas's death is by far the one that's got me the most.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean,
And
I don't even know if I should talk much about it because I feel like if I tell how it all fits together, then it won't be as effective. But yeah,
Yeah,
that we worked on that a lot.
understood.
We thought
Nope,
about it a lot.
understood. Okay, I got you.
and I forget the the yellow dog's name, the golden dog or cat. I'm tripping. I'm
Oh yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
Oh,
dude, yeah. The
scratch.
oh my goodness, that
Scratch.
one was bad
Yeah,
Yeah,
too.
I said dog.
That was
Scratch.
bad.
Yeah.
yeah,
That that lets you know early on what you're getting into.
Yeah,
He's
for
like,
sure.
"Oh," he's like, "Let's go to your home." Boom.
In
yeah,
half, dude.
Let's not.
yeah. Every horror movie, you want that moment or horror story where somebody's going like, "I'm gonna help you. We're gonna be okay," and then they just get,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's
It really
horror
set the
101.
stage.
Yeah,
Yeah, something that him and I both talked
Uh,
about that we have an issue with modern comics is that there's not real stakes made. So it's like you'll have a
yeah,
character die, like for example, in current DCKO,
yeah,
Batman died in the very first issue, but then he didn't really die. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's like these stakes don't exist, and that also might be why I gravitate to more like The Walking Dead or Invincible, because whenever the characters die, they're dead. And so
for
you
sure.
setting that precedent automatically in Feral, I think is a very important thing for me as a reader because it's like none of these characters are safe just because we like them, just because they're cool, just because they seem nice. Because like Jonas was setting up to be a very, like a savior like character,
He's the
instantly.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah, sure enough, man. Sure
That's-
enough. Yeah, it's just I think it's a great way to set that up because again, you really know what you're in for the rest of the series,
Oh, thank you.
of course.
I just wanted to talk about Elsie and like that whole backstory where she left him behind. Why is
Yeah.
the name
You know, Lord.
Who?
no Lord?
Yeah.
Right? Sorry. Yeah, their whole backstory, it seems very fitting for animals. That's how they would react, right? I have had many cats in my life, groups of cats, and it's always the same whenever you bring in the little kitten. No matter how long you try to socialize them, the older cat's always going to have a problem,
Yeah.
right? And in this, it shows that perfectly. She thought Lord was annoying, and she took it upon herself to fix that.
Yeah.
And he got left out and basically starved and came back different, and they had to declaw him. And it's just such a very real story that you usually don't see, like from our perspective. Like if a cat gets out, all we know is that when they come back, they're different.
Yeah.
We don't see the things that happen to them. And I mean, I've had cats get away and come back, some not, so it hit close to home seeing him, that little kitten, be left behind.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That was definitely the intention. When we planned out those original cats, we thought like what we want them to all be real cat archetypes. Like feel like there's cats that are like very rambunctious cats. There's cats that are very like to be left alone. There's the kind of cats that like people, and the kind of cats that are more shy with people. The kind of cats that like other cats and don't like other cats. So we thought about all that stuff, and it was sort of like a secondary thing to building the characters. Is like this is what they're like as for lack of a better word, people. But then we can also work in like what they're like as cats. Like the sometimes they link up, sometimes they go together, the way the cats behave and the way that these characters behave. But sometimes it's completely different.
And that speaks to the cat that was rescued from the lady's house. She wouldn't have thought anything wrong about the lady.
Oh yeah, Chloe.
Yeah, Chloe, like
Yeah.
no matter what she saw, her human was pure to her.
Yes,
And that's how
absolutely.
you think a lot of animals hopefully would see you.
Yeah, I mean that's what Stray Dogs is about too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because again, they automatically. Oh no, there's no way that owner would do that. There's no way.
Yeah.
That
Especially the bloodhound,
Oh yeah, Earl.
yeah, that was
Earl.
man.
I know all their names. That's what's important.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. For sure. For sure. For sure, man. Oh man, Stray Dogs was just made me so sad.
Oh, I'm sorry,
And
Oh no,
but
in a great way. In a great way. In a
I'm
great
sorry,
way. For
but
sure. In a great way.
yeah,
sorry, but I
that I
sorry, not
mean,
sorry. I meant to do that.
it worked. I
For
think
sure.
these books do a really good job at making you feel something, and it's with animals. And I
Yeah.
think that clearly had to be intentional, pulling on the heartstrings. People have a connection to animals, and did you maybe exploit that?
You know what? Initially, I wasn't really thinking about it that much. I really just thought about them as characters. And then as we started making it, and as we started, like Trish started designing the characters, and Tom started drawing the backgrounds, and everything started coming together. And as I would start showing it to people, they seeing other people's reactions, because to me, these are drawings that we did, and like I was there the whole time while we were making it, and so I feel like a unfeeling robot or something, that I wasn't like, oh, I love them so much, I hope nothing bad happens to them, but I was just making it, and then we put it out, and people started seeing it, and they were just like, nothing bad better happen to these dogs, and I was like, oh, well, shit.
Yeah.
I have bad news. Some terrible stuff's
Yeah.
about to happen.
I know that I've seen interviews where you and Trisha talked about where y'all take y'all style from, and
Mhm.
I can't remember the artist's name, and I do apologize. But it was a Disney artist, correct?
Yeah, well, Don Bluth, he originally was a Disney artist, and
Okay.
then he broke off and sort of became Disney's #1 competitor in the 80s.
Understood. Okay.
90s.
For context, I was born in '04, so that a little, little,
Yeah,
little,
yeah.
little bit before my time.
Do you
But
know Land Before Time? Did you
I
see
do. Yes,
those?
I did see
Oh,
those.
I love
That's him.
Land
Okay,
Before
that's
Time.
awesome.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. That's a really great reference point.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So what I was going to ask, like, I know that I heard her say that was a huge inspiration for her art style. Would you argue or maybe think that the way that y'all draw these characters is intentional to? I know it's the art style that y'all like, but also intentional to elicit, hey, these are cute, these are adorable. When something
Yes.
grisly happens, it's understood. Okay.
100%. Yeah. We're using that the comfort that you feel from watching something or reading something that looks like that to try and lull you into a false sense of security so that you're
Absolutely.
reading it and you're thinking we're safe here. This is the stuff that makes me feel nice to watch. And then when you turn the page and something like what happened to Scratch or to Jonas or something happens, you're like that was not
Right. Yeah,
that was not what
absolutely.
was supposed to happen, you
Or
know.
when they're walking out
Yeah,
of the, I was gonna say, go
everything
ahead.
looks so soft.
Yeah.
You know, like everything looks so rounded and colorful and sweet, and then it's just riddled with blood in the next page.
Yeah. That's all by design. Yeah, for sure.
And I remember the page that you see when they're walking out of the closet of the lady's house, and you just see the aftermath of them releasing the bad cats or the bad kitties out. Just seeing
Yeah.
that absolute carnage of what that looked like, man, it was
Grizzly.
a great page. I'm gonna be honest with you. Really,
Oh,
really
thank you. Yeah.
set some
And
good tone.
We did that. Tone and I and Trish would come out sometimes too. We drove across the whole country when the first Feral Trade came out and like stopped at comic stores and did signings and stuff to promote the book. And we drew that spread like all together in like hotel lobbies and stuff. And
That's
Trish would be
insane.
putting, Tone had drawn this whole background, and Trish would be like, "What if we put a little goo here, or put like a cat's paw hanging off
Oh
here?"
my
And
goodness.
Tone was drawing his little pieces of gore, and it was like if any, stewardesses had been walking through the hotel lobby, or church people or whatever, it would have been a disgusting thing for them to happen upon.
another question that I had was what the brainstorming process was like, and that gives a glimpse into it. Very, very collaborative process. Everybody working together at the
Yeah, for
same
sure.
time.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, definitely. We're usually pretty collaborative too. Like Tone will come out a lot of the time. Like I said, we're hanging out right now, but he usually lives in Louisiana. But he'll come out to California where I live.
Are you for That's where I live.
But yeah, no, we work together in person a lot of the time. Um, and then Trish, I'll go work with her every year at least once. Like if it's Baltimore Comic Con, I like to stay a couple days extra or a day extra, and we'll get together and like work in person. But that's just because how I came up working in a studio situation. Like I said, Tone and I and a couple different artists all used to work together in a studio in like a shared space. And so I was just used to being able to pop over and go like, "This looks good," or they can look at what I was working on and go like, "Oh, this doesn't look great. You should do this." Or so I've always been pretty collaborative. But the story stuff usually starts with like I have an idea, and then I'll get together with our editor Dennis Culver, who's also a comic book writer. He wrote Doom Patrol last year or the year before. He's always writing stuff, and but we'll get together and I'll say like all the things that I know happen in the issue, and then we'll just sit there and start like figuring out like what's the best way to place them, what pages stuff goes on, or Dennis will be like make sure that I'm not missing anything, or sort of like making sure that we're tracking all the emotional stuff, that because there's so many characters now that we did a thing with the last issue where we needed to have two characters have a conversation because there's like this hanging emotional beat that we haven't dealt with yet. And like I'm just always like, well, we'll get them into the action, they'll figure it out. And Dennis is like, yeah, they're still mad at each other, you gotta wrap that
It's,
up.
it's good that you have someone to ground you in that, because I think that's a problem that comic book readers see, is that they're like, oh, this was brought up, but it was never addressed
Yeah.
again.
Well, and that's the other good thing about having it be in our book, and sort of like it's very collaborative, but it is a small group. It's like 5 people work on this book, and so we're all sort of always in it, always working on it, and we can sort of like do a pretty decent job of keeping track of all this stuff. Nobody else gives us a note that like makes us take the direction we were going and head in a whole different way.
So I think that would be a good segue into my next question. You mentioned, you go to see Trish at Baltimore Comic Con. last year at Baltimore, you had mentioned with I'm not sure who you were talking to, but I did hear an interview that you had where you mentioned that Stray Dogs had potentially a movie in the works. But the
Hmm.
issue at hand was that, and I don't want to misquote you, but you mentioned something to the effect of getting an animated movie that looks like that to be rated R wasn't something that you thought would be possible, or not possible. It wouldn't sell well. And to which
I
I'm
don't think that. I think they think that. Like I,
got you. Okay. Yeah. So what I
I
was
obviously believe in this
right,
format. I keep making it over and over again. Uh, but I think it's just a tougher sell.
right,
Anytime you try and sell something that doesn't exist yet, it's a tougher sell because it's much easier to go like, uh, you know, Avatar made $1 billion again. We can
right.
greenlight another Avatar.
Absolutely.
It's much harder to go the the cartoon movie about the murders. Well, there's not one of those. So question mark, or
Right.
there's violent cartoons, but they're Japanese. Do they want one that's not Japanese? Like it's all something to figure out. But I'm not too worried about it. Like the comics have done so well for us
Right.
that it would be nice to have that, like that sort of thing would be cool. I think my mom would love it. She could
Right.
she could really brag to her friends that if she got to go to a movie premiere or something. Um, but we're just gonna keep cooking, and eventually, sooner or later, somebody will do something, or they won't. Or.
What I was going to ask with that, do you think, which I understand this is a totally different art style, but do you think something like how Invincible has been so successful with Amazon Prime and it
Yeah,
being animated and very gory, which again, like I
yeah.
understand different art style, but do you think that might move the needle with a production company at some point?
I think it doesn't hurt. I think having an American Image comic book uh, that they turn into an animated show that's the most successful thing in the world could definitely does not hurt.
Yeah, because I know that's probably if which I don't know the numbers, but I would argue out of pure communication, that's been the most successful superhero project for a minute, probably since like Endgame or No Way Home. So
Sure.
seeing that great success from that, especially from a comic book that, to my understanding, wasn't really talked about in the common zeitgeist, seeing that great success automatically, and I think a lot of that is the shock value of it being animated like a Saturday morning cartoon, and then you see the Omni Man fight with the Guardians the very first episode and
Yeah,
just seeing how real it gets. So I do think that in my mind, I feel like that should move the needle, like saying, hey, this is possible. We just got to,
for sure.
you know what I mean? We got to find the right audience. But I
That
think
was a great first episode, huh?
it
Remember
was,
that?
yeah, it was
It
fantastic.
was after credits,
It was
right?
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic
Yeah,
for sure.
and that's what something that I really liked about Invincible. It's like if you're one of those people that just like skipped the credits immediately, you're gonna miss so much.
Yeah, for sure.
Because one of the episodes, I believe, holds the record for the longest end credit scene because it's like half the episode. They roll the credits and then the other half of the episode goes on, and I think it's with Nolan and the alien, and Alan the alien, I forget.
Yeah,
But
Kirkman loved to
man,
do that type of stuff. Like even in comics, you've read them. He would like to do sort of like uh, tongue-in-cheek, formal stuff a lot, where it's like, this is how a comic book normally is. We're gonna flip it a little bit and do a
Right.
comic book like this, and it's gonna be just as fun and surprising. He was great at that type of thing. Is great at that type of thing, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's still doing it.
I think if you were to get uh either a movie or a show, I personally think that Farrell would do really well as an animated show. I think that first episode it would end where Scratch dies.
For
Like
Yeah,
that
sure.
would be the Omni Man fight. The end credits roll. All right, guys, you want to go home? Boom.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, listen. When it happens, when that's how the first episode ends, you can tell your friends that you put
I
that bug in
called
my
it.
ear.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
With the many movie homage covers that you've done, with every Feral and Stray Dogs release, there's movie homage variants. Think it's safe to say you're a movie buff. You like movies.
For sure, yeah.
So, what? I know this is a tough question, but what, as a top three, no specific order, what would your top three movies be?
Oh, movie. Let's do horror movies because the feral covers
The
are all cool.
movie's too
For
broad.
sure.
Yeah,
All right. Well, yeah. What are your top three horror movies then?
I feel a little bit conflicted about this because I feel like they're all from like the same like 6 or 7 year stretch. But Halloween by John Carpenter is like sort of the proto uh, small town slasher movie. It's sort of perfect. Jamie Lee Curtis is perfect in it. Suspiria. It's a Dario Argento horror movie that's about like witches in a ballet school, but the way that it's told, the style that it's told in is just like super creepy and also like super over the top and artistic. Like it looks like it should be cheesy, but everybody's playing it real straight. Um, I love that one. And man, I'm gonna throw a curveball in here. I'm gonna say Cabin in the Woods.
A newer one.
Yeah, but I was gonna say Exorcist. The Exorcist is so scary that I can hardly watch it. Uh, I never like I love it, but I never put it on because it freaks me out too much. So I'm gonna say one that I watch more often, and I like Cabin in the Woods because of the scary stuff was scary, and the stuff that was sort of like meta and funny was meta and hilarious.
All together
Drew
interesting.
Goddard, very good. Yeah.
So I've heard of those, except for the second one. What was the
Suspiria?
title again?
It's called Suspiria.
Suspiria.
It's Italian. It's from I think 1975 or 77.
Okay.
But you check it out. It's a vibe. Like the colors are crazy, the murders are shocking, and yeah, it's great. It doesn't
Nice.
it doesn't make the most sense in the world, but if you're just on for like a vibe, strap in.
I'm a huge movie guy, so I'm definitely have to check in. I got a Texas Chainsaw Massacre poster back here, so I'm
Oh hell
definitely
yeah!
yeah, for sure.
Did you go see it when they were playing it in theaters this year?
Unfortunately, I did not. It was a bummer. There was something going on between work. I work third shift, so it's kind of hard to make
Oh
timings.
yeah, that you're saying.
Yeah, so it's hard to make timings, but huge movie guy, so I'll have to check out Suspiria for sure,
Nice. Yeah, you'll dig it.
for sure. Man, and those movie covers are awesome. I know you had one for Alien 3 that I loved. I have a xenomorph tattoo right here, so
Yeah.
I loved it, man. I loved it.
Yeah, that one comes out soon. Or did it come out? Was it on issue 20? Is it
I
out? Yeah, it was on issue 20.
issue
That
20.
one that one was nice because we didn't even have to do that one. That was like a retailer cover. So I didn't have to think up how it was supposed to look or do the logo. They just turned it in. It was perfect, ready to go. All the other movie covers, we have to draw them. Like I send the idea to Trish and she draws the cats and then sends it back and then I draw the rest. Or Tone will sometimes hop in and draw like the backgrounds and stuff on them. It takes all kinds of time. When somebody else wants to do it, that's
I mean, I also really appreciate how it really looks like the posters. Like I know, like
Mhm.
obviously you have your characters involved in it, but because I know like Deceased did a similar thing, but it didn't look like the posters. It just took basic things. You have the whole like text credits, you have the acting credits. It looks awesome how it just completely resembles a real movie poster.
Thank you. Yeah, we take that very seriously. We try and really do a good job on those.
At my local comic book shop, I'll shout him out, Brian, the worker. He is a huge fan of you, and not only your comics, but your variant covers for movie homages. I'm pretty sure he's gotten stuff signed by you. He's a big fan.
Nice.
So
Shout out Brian.
when I told him I was doing this, he about lost his mind. So I just wanted to give him a little shout out.
Hey Brian, thank you for reading and selling my work. Shout out Brian. Louisiana Double Play, the best comic store in all of Louisiana, featuring Brian, the best comic shop employee in all of Louisiana Double Play.
So, I mean, as both of us are aspiring comic creators, Josh Clearwater is a writer. I, Josh Jiwa, am an artist. We're hopefully creating our own little duo for the future.
Maybe.
But I know our dreams are to work for some of the big 2 or 3. Image is up there now.
Yeah.
You've worked on so many projects. Was your goal always to work for Marvel or DC, or was that just how it worked out?
I think it was, I mean, I don't know if it wasn't my goal or if I just assumed that it was impossible, that it would never, like that was not the path that I was on. I did indie comics, I did like real small stuff, and then I drew My Little Pony for like, years and years. So it
long
didn't
time.
seem like I was like, if anybody that had called that I was going to have a DC Next Level book or that I was going to write like X-Men crossovers or Wolverine miniseries or the Marvel swimsuit special would have been an incredible prognosticator, like just a great they should go to Vegas and lay odds on things because I would never have suspected that. So I don't. It was never my goal, just because it seemed impossible. That'd be like if my goal was like being in the Olympics or something, you know. Like it just, I mean, I do walk, but I could never
Oh,
win a race walking against other people, you know.
I,
Uh, so
yeah.
that yeah, it was never my goal. My goal was always just I want to be able to tell stories. I want to be able to make up my own stuff and put it out there, like the stuff we do at Image. And everything else beyond that has just been like gravy. You know, it's like this is just extra cool stuff that I get to do and get to, you know, I get to do it and get to do the same tricks that I do on Feral or Stray Dogs. You know, I'm doing all the same page turn stuff and all the same, you know, trying to surprise people and trying to make people feel emotions and stuff like that. But it's just like, you know, it's a different thing than what I thought I was, where I thought I was headed. It's a happy accident almost, you know, like I tripped and fell and got a job writing Deathstroke, the Terminator.
Yeah, and with that, was there a lot of editorial involved? Because you say, you wanted to work independently, create your own stories, and you've pretty much done that with Feral and Stray Dogs.
Yeah.
Was that the same case with Deathstroke the Terminator, or was there a lot of interference?
I wouldn't say, I mean, it's different, obviously. Like, you know, you're using somebody else's character and you're telling a story in a world that already exists where other characters are and they're doing their thing. So it's like there's certain things I can't do. You know, I just can't have Deathstroke like kill Nightwing or something, you know, because Nightwing is in a
Why would
book.
you say that?
I saw your little Nightwing icons
That's
over
both
here,
of
you couple of
yeah,
nerds.
that's both of our favorites.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he's in a book already, you know,
Yeah.
so I can't like in Feral, I can kill anyone I want all the time, you know, because they're only in
I'm pretty
Feral.
sadistic.
Thank you. They're only in Feral, and I'm the only person that I'm gonna mess up if one of those characters goes away. But on DC, this is just an example. That's a good point that I'm only talking about the murdering, but Deathstroke does a lot of murdering in
He
the
does. He does.
yeah. So there's sort of like more rules and regulations and stuff, but I wouldn't call it interference as much. And even anything that has come along that has seemed like a challenge, I just sort of take it as that, like a challenge. Like, oh, okay, well, I'm good at making comics over here. I bet I could do this if I just figure out how to, you know, take these notes and take this input and still make a good comic with it. You know, I'm sort of
Yeah,
looking at it like that. Like
learning how
instead
to
of
work with
thinking,
constraints.
yeah, instead of thinking about it as like a hindrance, sometimes I just think about it like, all right, well, let me just figure out how to, you know, Alan Moore worked here, you know, like all my Brian K. Vaughan worked here, and Ed Brubaker worked here, and all my favorite writers worked here. So they figured out how to do it. So I'm sure I could figure it out. You know.
Deathstroke has been my favorite comic book villain since I was 9 years old. So
Hell yeah,
which I'm gonna be honest, my first introduction was through Injustice, the video game, and
yeah.
then through other media like the Teen Titans TV show, and even seeing him in like Young Justice or any of the DC animated movies. So seeing that he's getting ongoing now while I'm collecting is a huge deal for me. Like it's a
Oh,
really big deal. So this is awesome for me as well. Uh,
I sent you the first issue, right?
yeah, it was fantastic, by the way. I believe
Okay,
we'll get
cool.
into that in a
Yeah,
moment.
that
Uh, yeah,
man, that just that opportunity was
yeah.
amazing.
Which
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, for sure,
You tell
definitely. Yeah,
Brian.
thank you so much.
Oh, did I? No, I didn't. I didn't know how
How
close
secret
lipped
is
this had
supposed
to
to
be.
be. You can tell Brian you read it and he hasn't got to read it yet.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that he'll be jealous. Great.
Yeah, this is definitely a really big deal for me as a person. But what I wanted to ask is that I'd heard you say before, and I once again do not want to misquote you. So if anything's incorrect here, please let me know.
Yeah.
But you said something to the effect of that whenever DC approached you about Next Level, you were given a set of characters to choose from, and you were
Mhm.
like, I have this character and I want to do something with this, and that's why I picked them. What I wanted to
Yeah.
ask is, if you can, which characters were you given the choice of, and what made you land on Deathstroke?
Oh, I don't want to say.
Oh
I'm
man,
sorry.
I
I
understood. That's
still
all
want to
good.
do those other characters, and I don't want to.
Understood.
Don't
Completely
want
get
to
I
it.
don't
ruin the
want to.
chances.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
completely get it. I understand completely.
But I did come up like the way I like to work is I like for people to give me like especially on this type of stuff I like for them to say Deathstroke or say these other characters and go like what would you do with that, and then I can look at everything and sort of try and figure out a take that it feels unique to me and feels like they haven't, you know, somebody hasn't done it before. So that's what I did in that situation.
Understood. And so is that kind of the idea that why you landed on Deathstroke, or can you share that?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the idea. I mean I pitched them everything that they said to me. I pitched
Right.
every character. They
Okay.
sort of landed on Deathstroke. I figured out a cool Deathstroke story that I wanted to tell, and they were like, "We agree. That is cool."
Okay. All right. Understood.
We have a big question here.
Oh man.
Okay.
I don't think you can answer this, but we have to
Okay.
ask.
Yes.
Um, and I'm gonna try not to look at your face, so I don't know if you're telling the truth or not.
Yes. Okay.
Uh, so this could be off the record. We don't have to include this at all,
I
but
can't wait.
we have a oh wow, we're close. We have a suspicion that Tara Markov will be making a return, and that was before I ever even
Yeah.
got a chance to read the first issue. Him too.
Yeah. Both of us.
Mhm.
It's kind of something we're scared of. And if she is to make a return, if the Judas contract story will be either addressed or readdressed.
Yeah. No. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay. That's
wow.
great. That's great news. That's actually fantastic news. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, when I write about how Slade is a piece of shit, like you can infer whatever you want into that, but
Yeah.
that's not a story that I feel like I should be the one who writes, and I don't feel like that's a story that sounds uh yeah, no. It
That's
does not sound like a
I was kind of
that's
we
great news. That's
me
great
us
news.
us Joshes over here
a
were
little
a little
Josh
worried.
around. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. With murder and with killing, I feel like it's almost abstract enough that even though there are victims of murder, of course, and it's a very serious thing,
Yeah.
it's also such a like our whole lives, all we do is see murder all day long on
Yeah.
TV and stuff. And
Mhm.
so I feel like I do get to have my cake and eat it too with a book like this, where it's like there's crazy action and he's going insane with violence. But at the same time, we're trying to tell a story about what's going on inside of this person, even if what's going on in this person you saw in the first issue is sort of not a lot. Like,
Yeah.
he says in the first issue that like he doesn't feel a lot. He sort of has the highs and the lows shaved off. And so he's just sort of in the middle, and I feel like a lot of people can sort of relate with that. Sadly, uh, I feel like I relate with it sometimes, uh, but I can tell that story, like that personal story, while still having explosive violence and also sort of dealing with the consequences of violence like that on the people who it's being done to, and also on the people that are having it done to them, right?
Right.
And I feel comfortable doing that, even not having been a victim of murder
Understood.
or affected by murder, you know.
Right.
But that other stuff, it feels like that's not something that I should be. If they want to tell that story, that should be somebody else's story.
Definitely glad to hear that, to be completely honest.
For sure.
Yeah, because that's one of those things like you could imagine the type of response that I get whenever I mention that Deathstroke's been my favorite villain since 9 years old.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Which again, of course, at that time I had no idea what the Judas contract. My only interaction was through Injustice and the other medias.
sure.
And as I grew up and read more, because even though like I've read a good portion of his solo stuff, mainly his priest run and a little bit more into the later New 52 stuff, uh,
Yeah.
learning how much of a piece of shit he really is also completely different. But then again, at the end of the day, this is a villain. This is not a hero. This is not a good guy. He is a bad person,
And that's
right?
what's important too, is that in writing it, even if I give him like wins and stuff like that, it's not wins that make him into a hero or a good
Right.
person or an anti-hero or anything like that. Like I'm writing a bad guy and we're following the story of a bad guy. And so like that's the times when I do consider the other, like the Terra stuff and the other stuff, is when I'm trying to be sensitive and not making this guy like, hey, we love him. He's he's the greatest, you know. Like
Yeah.
I try to write him with an eye to, this is a person who's way damaged and has done horrible things, and we're telling that story.
That's fantastic to hear. Genuinely, I get a little annoyed with modern takes of Deathstroke. Like you'll see like things like Arkham Origins, or where they're trying to make him out to be like either just a Batman villain, or you'll see him in other projects where he's more leaning to an anti-hero. Like even in Injustice, like he's more of a good guy in Injustice almost the entire story if you've ever played the game, and it's like
Right.
that's nothing like his character at all.
Well, that's a different universe too,
Of
though,
course,
right?
yeah, of course, yes. In Elseworld, and it's kind of like a worst case scenario for everybody. But
Right.
again, that was completely my first interaction, so you can imagine my surprise whenever I'm seeing something over here where he's horrible. And another
Yeah.
part to lean into that, my favorite writing of his is whenever you see his relationship with his children or lack
Yep.
thereof, because again, he is a horrible
Yep.
father, like the
Bad dad.
worst, of the worst. He's up there with it. Like I made a joke post one time of like top 5 fathers of comics, and he was like number 2, and then it was followed by Trigon and Thanos. Like it's just not a great guy, you know what I mean? And so I was really glad to see that you included Rose in the very first issue, which again I don't know where
Mhm.
that's going to go, but I imagine that will be some incorporation, and I love seeing that interaction. I believe that genuinely, I believe that's where his writing is the best. It's just seeing how sadistic and sick his idea of being a father is. Because there's an
Yep.
issue in the Priest run where he was hanging out with Rose because she had assassins that were trying to kill her. And have you read the Priest run?
Yeah, of course. I know
Yeah,
this
so
issue.
yeah, and then you find out that he actually hired the assassins the entire time to spend time with her, and it's like that's the kind of man this is, right? And
Yeah.
so it's I'm really glad to see that you're incorporating that, and also his relationship with Wintergreen. I'm very excited to see where this all goes moving forward.
Cool. Yeah. Well, there's going to be a lot more family. There's going to be a lot more kids. I'm excited
That's
I
great
want to get
news.
Respawn in there,
Okay,
and yeah, everybody.
maybe Jericho.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll
That's
get. I
that's
mean,
awesome.
like this is an ongoing series about Slade, and I'm dealing a lot with sort of like the. It's tough to say the personal side because you imagine him like having tea with his
Yeah.
friends and stuff, but it is a lot about. I keep saying interiority, like it's a lot about what's going on inside this guy, and
And
even
I knew from the moment you were on this run that it was going to be something like that. So, dealing with the inner complexities of Deathstroke as a character. And I think
but
you understand how important it is to toe the line between making you feel his character, but also not making you sympathize for him.
the great thing about this book specifically is that I get to do that, and then it's drawn by Carmine Di Giandomenico, who does the craziest action you've ever seen, and so it's like I can afford to let it get a little bit uh like thoughtful and like emotional or whatever, because I know that he's going to come through with just like the coolest, most brutal imagery, and like those two things together I think make it feel hopefully a little bit different.
I mean, that first issue definitely sells well in that regard.
Yeah, the part where he's writing to Rose, and it's just a very thought-provoking message that he has to her, and he's like, "You told me not to let you know until I was ready for change." Well, the thing is, I'm constantly changing, and I'm changing into a worse man.
Yeah.
Like that was amazing writing right there. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's sort of one of the like one of the themes of the book for sure is that like we're doing a book about him changing, but it's not what everybody hopes, and a lot of that comes from you get older and you have your parents and you sort of start to realize like, well, that's just who they are, and they're not going to be, no matter what you hope that they're going to do or whatever, they're not always going to do that. And so like looking at it through Rose's POV or through Jericho's POV or through Respawn's POV, and just going like, what do they think this guy is, and what is he actually, is real interesting to me.
I'm so excited to see Jericho again.
Oh yeah.
For sure. I did want to point out that there was one moment that I thought was really hilarious. Whenever the guy's getting the call about, hey, by the way, this is happening. He's like, oh, okay. He hangs up. He goes, yeah, I'm gonna take my break. Are we gonna see any continuing humorous moments like this? I mean, that's very isolated in it, but it was a great breakaway that was genuinely funny.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I'm working on issue 4 right now, and there's a very dark moment in this one that I think is going to be fun. I like stuff like that. I like little cutaway moments. Now you sort of think of them as almost like Family Guy jokes or something. But have you read Hellboy?
I've read the first 2 issues of Hellboy. That's where I'm at in Hellboy.
I've
There's
never
a
read Hellboy.
there's one page in Hellboy where they just cut away to space aliens for no reason, and then they don't address it again for like 20 years, which I
Oof.
always loved. Like you're just in a story about demons and stuff, and then all of a sudden space aliens say something. But my favorite thing ever is there's like this little one-page story about them teaching little baby Hellboy when he's like with the military, and they're trying to get him to eat food, and he doesn't like people food, you know. But then they give him pancakes, and he's like, "Oh, I hate pancakes," and uh, and they're like, "Well, just try it." And then he puts syrup on it, he eats it, and he's like, "Oh my God, I love pancakes." And then they cut away to all the demons in hell, and they're like, "He's ate the pancakes," and they're all like, "No!" And so I just like the idea of cutting away to somebody and just showing, you know, it also sort of grounds it in realism, you know, like
Right, right.
you get in the middle of this big crazy DC comic where explosions are going off and there's a guy with just throwing knives around all over the place, and then you imagine like, well, somebody works here too, you know, and so you want to
Right.
just show that poor guy how he gets blown up, you know.
Are you looking to take any inspiration from previous creators like Wolfman and Priest, or are you just going to completely give this a whole unique look onto the character?
Both. I'm definitely looking to previous runs and like I love Priest, I love George and Marv on Titan stuff, and I love Marv on the solo series. I like Kyle's run. I like Kyle Higgins's run in the New 52. Um, I'm sort of looking at all of it and trying to see if there's anything. Uh, I liked Deathstroke Inc. I like what Josh did on that. I'm sort of looking at all of it and seeing like what I can pull from it, and but I definitely want to do something that feels like different and feels like its own thing. And luckily, they seem to be letting me do that right now.
And do you have a certain amount of issues planned out for this, or is it just going to go until it feels comfortable to stop?
I think it's just going to go until it feels comfortable. Hopefully, we got numbers on the first one; they were great. So, I mean, the Priest one went for like 50 issues. I don't
Yeah,
expect that they'll let me do that, but you know, no comics go to 50 issues. It seems like anymore. I mean, DC Comics do
right.
more than Marvel ones, but that would be crazy. You know, that would be fun to really get to dig in and figure this guy out for a good long stretch like that. But yeah, I don't have an endpoint in mind. I want to just sort of keep digging into this and seeing. You know, I have we're setting up all kinds of new different stuff, and out of this first arc, all these characters are going to be in way different places and sort of have almost like completely different missions. And so I'm excited to play all that stuff out.
Super
We're
excited.
excited to read it.
Sweet.
I'm pulling almost every variant cover, so I'm very excited.
Nice.
Yeah.
You got my
Yeah.
125?
My LCS is very inconsistent with like if I'll put in
Yeah.
an order that someone else isn't ordering a lot of, they don't get it. So I do
Yeah.
have it on my order. Does that mean I'll get it? I cannot guarantee for sure. But again, I am pulling almost every variant cover. I think for this first issue, I'm only not pulling the Virgin cover, and then
Sure.
I think I'm pulling all of the second issues, and that's all we've got so far. So
Awesome. Well,
I'm
I've
excited.
seen the other ones. I've seen up to issue 4 covers, maybe some issue 5s. I think just up to issue 4, and they're all super rad.
I
But
think corner box variants are awesome.
oh, I haven't seen those. What are we talking about?
With
Which
the
covers?
solid background.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks really good.
Oh, sweet. I'm excited about that. I saw one at DC the other day that was just like super choice, like an iconic Deathstroke shot.
Are you doing any more variants yourself?
I don't have any lined up right now, but there's an issue coming up at the end of this first arc that I have like a decent idea about. I think I might like to do like the beginning of every arc or like
Okay.
something like that. So
All right.
I'm
That's exciting. For
talking to
sure.
him about it. Yeah, I like to get in there and remind people that I could draw a little bit every once in a while.
Get your hands dirty.
Yeah, it's tough when you're drawing a book that Carmine draws the inside of because it's like I'm never gonna draw that
Well, so
good.
who did the colors on that cover that you did for the Deathstroke number
Oh,
1?
I did. Yeah, I
You
color
did?
most of
Well,
my covers.
that's a good standout for you.
Thank you.
You're pretty good with your colors. And I was in art school for a bit, so it kind of opened my eyes up to composition.
Mhm.
And you surely know how to work composition.
Thank you. Yeah, those are my you know, I can't draw as detailed or as action packed as some of these artists, but I can put together a composition and I can really make some colors pop when I need to, you know. And I draw dogs and cats better than most of them as well. I'll put my dogs and cats up against anybody.
With you drawing cats and dogs and having books that center on animals,
Mhm.
it's safe to say you're probably an animal guy.
Mhm. Mhm.
Do you have pets of your own?
I have one dog. He's a English bull terrier named Baxter. He's very old and slow right now. He's a big stupid idiot, and he likes to lay around and eat food and then lay around some more. He's just living my dream life. But yeah, and I've had dogs a lot. I grew up with cats, and we have a lot of neighborhood cats, and I feed those guys sometimes. But then they like to reward me by peeing all over my house, so I try to feed them far away from the house lately.
Very
But
nice
yeah,
of them.
dog guy. But I love all kinds of animals. We want to do a book about horses eventually, and super love monkeys and elephants.
Oh, I love monkeys.
I've talked about this
Yeah.
yesterday, I think, with somebody. I can't remember who, but
Like the isn't there like a monkey flu or some kind of virus from monkeys?
well, I mean, famously, there's one big one for
AIDS?
sure.
Yeah.
I did not get any monkey illnesses from these monkeys, but I went to Thailand on my honeymoon, and there was like a monkey festival in this place called Lot Buri, where you could go feed monkeys and like put fruit down, and then they would come and jump all over you. And he stole my sunglasses. We had a wonderful time. But yeah, I love a monkey. I'll go see any monkey movie. I went and saw Primate the minute it came out. I couldn't
missed
wait.
that
I'll
one.
see all the Planet of the Apes.
Man,
I
Well,
love the Planet of the Apes
I do.
movies.
I do. I
Did
love
you
Creature.
see what is that Jordan Peele movie?
Oh, Nope.
Nope. Did you
Yeah,
see Nope?
terrific. Great monkey. They didn't
Perfect.
even really
Yeah.
advertise the monkey that much. It was
A
a
great
nice
monkey.
good monkey surprise.
My dad is in Hollywood and he's worked with Jordan Peele closely on like Us. He's a very cool dude, very, very creative mind. I feel like his warped style would blend well with yours somehow and
Have your
some
dad put a word in. Let's go.
yeah, right. Some future Jordan Peele and Tony Fleece collab would be awesome.
That would be wicked.
If I see Jordan Peele do dogs or cats that aren't mine, I'm going to be very hurt. I feel like he's done a monkey. Everybody knows he does great animal stuff now. We just got to get that next step. You and me, Josh, and your dad.
Let's do it. Yeah, that's all we have today. Just wanted to thank you so much for coming, letting us
Pleasure.
pick your brain.
Yeah, I love talking to you guys. I like that you had insightful questions, and I love that you're both named Josh. And I'm happy that you like my work. You seem like a couple of smart guys, not just because you love my work, but that doesn't hurt
It
at all.
definitely helps.
It definitely helps. It's a nice way to start the day. Just talk to a couple Joshes, josh around a little bit,
Just a
and they
little bit.
tell you you're doing a good job. We could do this every morning if you want, but not as early as you guys like to get up.
Well, yeah,
I'll-
we'd definitely love to have on for a follow-up episode.
Yeah.
Let's talk after the first
Yeah.
arc, and
Yeah,
then we'll have a lot
For
more
sure.
feral stuff
Absolutely.
to
Yeah.
talk
So
about.
after issue 6, we can talk
Perfect.
about another episode. Fantastic. Super
Perfect.
excited.
Yeah, hit me
That
up.
would be awesome.
Absolutely, man. Well, definitely thank you so much, man. Especially as a
bet.
Deathstroke
Talk to
fan,
you
I'm very
soon.
excited.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks, Joshes. Take care.
See you.
Later.
Bye.